So, as mentioned, it is ayah number 60, verse number 60, chapter number 9, Surah At-Tawbah. Now, Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned these 8 categories. It is very important to know who these people are, because so many times people come and say, Sheikh, my aunt is very poor. She has only 2 sons and 1 daughter, and she's a widow. Can I give her from my zakat? Or, Sheikh, I have nephews and they are very poor. Can I give them from zakat? Or, Sheikh, my sister is married and her husband does not work. Can I give her from zakat? So many people make the mistake of saying, yeah, sure, no problem. And this is wrong. Why? Because Allah described the beneficiaries with a description. If the description does not fit them, you cannot simply go and give anyone you want zakat just because he's your relative, just because you feel sorry for them, just because he's your friend at work for the past 20 years and you want to help. You have to ask yourself, is that person classified as one of the 8 categories? If yes, then give them the zakat. If not, then you cannot give them from the zakat. If yes, give them from the zakat, providing that there is no other thing that prevents you from giving them zakat. So the first category, إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتُ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ, to the poor, وَالْمَسَاكِينَ, and the needy. Okay, interesting, but what is the difference? What is the difference between the poor and the needy? Scholars say there are terminologies in Islam, and when these terminologies come together, each has a separate meaning. When they separate, they all mean the same. So Islam, when Allah speaks about al-Muslimin, it is exactly the same as al-Mu'minin. Islam and Iman are the same when separately addressed. O you who believe, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. This includes believers, Mu'minin and Muslimin. But when it comes together, when Allah says al-Muslimina wal-Muslimat, Mu'minina wal-Mu'minat, okay, there's a difference here because now they're joined together. Like al-birr, al-taqwa, al-ihsan, al-Islam, all of these are same. But when they come together, they separate. Poor and needy, they mean the same. He's poor, he's needy. But when they're together, each has a separate meaning. So what is the meaning of poor? The poor is a person who does not have enough that suffices him. So any person who has a salary and the salary runs out on the 10th day or the 15th day of the month or the 20th day, then he's broken. He needs to beg or to borrow to continue the rest of the month. And this happens every month. If he finds lunch, he won't find dinner. And if he finds dinner, most likely he won't find breakfast. This is classified as poor. A miskin or a needy is someone who's a little bit better. So yes, he has breakfast, lunch and dinner. He has a car. His salary suffices him for the whole month. He doesn't need money to eat or drink, but he's short on other things that are not a commodity but are essential for a decent life. So he has all the basics, but he cannot afford to take his children to school. He needs school fees. He also is unable to provide for his children medical treatment. His wife may go under surgery and he cannot afford that. So such a person is not poor, but he is in need and he has to be helped. So this is the difference between the poor and the needy. It's very slight, but yes, a man can be having a job and a monthly salary, and he has a house. He wants to get married, but he cannot save a penny to get married with. And he needs money for the wedding, for the dowry, and he can't afford it. He's considered to be a miskin, a needy. He can be helped from zakat money. Providing, of course, he's a Muslim, because I cannot give zakat money except to the Muslims. And providing that he's not one of my dependents. So I can't give zakat to my father or mother, or my son or daughter, or to my wife. They all depend on me and I am obliged to provide for them. Then we have al-amilina alayha, and these are the administrative workers. And in this category, if you go down, you'll find that it explains very well who these workers are, and it tells you that these workers must work for the Muslim ruler in an Islamic government, or that applies Islamic law, because such workers are given part of the zakat that they collect. So whether they are accountants, whether they are physically collecting zakat from people or distributing it to the poor, they need wages, they need expenses of travel. The imam, the Muslim ruler, imam means Muslim ruler, not the man who leads a prayer only. This is a general terminology, a wider aspect of it. So the imam is entitled to take from the zakat. He collects and gives a portion of it to those who work, even if they are rich and self-sufficient. Just because they've devoted some of their time to that noble task of collecting and distributing the zakat, they're entitled to have their share, their salary of it. Now, 3-4 lines before the end of this third category, it says that these may deduct from what they collect of zakat money to pay to their staff. And this is referring to Islamic organizations that collect zakat, and this is wrong. Islamic organizations that collect zakat cannot give their workers, their staff, from zakat money under this category, because this category is solely limited to workers in the government underneath a Muslim leader or ruler who appoints them for such a task, and not in charity organizations, definitely not for a billionaire who has a staff that distributes his zakat. I'm a billionaire and I have like $10 million every year zakat, a lot of money. So I hire 5 or 10 people to collect the names of the poor families in my city and to go and detect whether they're needy or not, and to give them their share of zakat. So can I give from my zakat salary to those? The answer is no. They are not part of the administrative workers, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. Number 4, those whose hearts are to be won over. وَالْمُؤَلَّفَةُ قُلُوبُهُمْ. وَالْمُؤَلَّفَةِ قُلُوبُهُمْ is a category that scholars disputed upon. The most authentic opinion and the majority of scholars say that this is the only category we're allowed to give to non-Muslims. Some scholars say that it is not to be given to any non-Muslim, only to those whose hearts are inclined to Islam and they have authority in their people. So I can find 100 janitors and workers and poor people who are non-Muslims, and when they see money, their hearts are inclined to Islam. So I give it to them? The answer is no, because they're interested in my money. But if I genuinely see someone who always asks about Islam and he says, wow, Islam is a beautiful religion, I love your religion of this and that, and he's genuine in his feelings, I may give him from zakat money if I can, or if I think that this would make him more interested in Islam. There's no problem in that. Scholars say that tribes leaders like Dr. Abdul Rahman al-Sumait, may Allah have mercy on his soul, the Kuwaiti da'iyah, who managed to